Hello, and welcome to another session of Talk with ECM. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. My name's Elizabeth, and today's session is all about tricky words. Have you ever noticed that in English that sometimes the way the word's spelled and the way it's pronounced are very different? There are a lot of tricky words in English, and today we'll talk about them. As I mentioned, my name is Elizabeth, and our topic is February and other tricky words. As mentioned in our other Blab sessions, learning English and English pronunciation can be challenging. Today we'll look at two groups of words where the spelling and the pronunciation just don't seem to match. Then we'll practice using them in conversation. Before we begin, let me say that this is a recorded show. So that means everything you say will be recorded and others can view it. A few minutes after the session, which is scheduled to last about 30 minutes, Blab will compile and make this available to watch and review. If you like it, share the link with others. For future shows, I collect topics and questions from you. I see we have someone here who's first day on Blab. So I'm going to ask you to wait just a minute while I clarify the rules, and then I'll invite you to join in. But let me welcome our two new members and go over the rules before I start opening the seats. Let's see, I was saying, for future shows, I collect topics and questions directly from you. What questions do you have about speaking English? What topics would you like to discuss with me? Please send your questions via Twitter or email at office@talkwithecm. Maybe I'll use your question here on Blab. For those of you here for the live recording, I welcome you to join in, listen in, share live, join in the seat, type on the side. Join us in any way that suits you best. Today, I'm presenting a mini grammar lesson at the beginning and welcome you to speak with me after that. For those of you who are listening to this as a recorded session, I hope you find this information useful and informative. Please follow me on Twitter, Talk with ECM, and I welcome you to share your questions with me, talk with me, and tell me ideas you have for the future. So let's begin. I see a number of people here, and we have a few people who it's their first day on Blab, so that's really exciting. And again, this is a Blab that's specially designed to help people who are learning English. So I try and speak a little bit more slowly and give you chances to speak with me as well. So now, as I mentioned, I want to do a little mini grammar lesson in the beginning. This is about pronunciation and spelling and crazy English words. They're crazy. So we're going to look at two groups of words with silent letters. There are more, but we're going to look at just two today. And silent letters are letters that you have to write when you write the word, but we don't say them, and they're not pronounced. And so the first question that comes to my mind when I think about this is, why? Why do we need these? Why? Whose idea was this in the first place? So in English, whether we like it or not, silent letters are here, and they're here to stay for several reasons. Some words, the pronunciation has changed over time. That is, we used to say the silent letters, but now it's changed and it's gone. But we still keep the old spelling. So that's the first reason. Another reason is some words are borrowed from other languages. Many words in English are borrowed from other languages. And so some of these words keep the original spelling, but we pronounce them in a different way. So that's why the spelling and the pronunciation doesn't match. Then there's a third group where, again, it's a borrowed word from another language with another kind of spelling, and we pronounce it in the way of the borrowed language. So that means it doesn't follow the normal English pronunciation rules. So there's a lot of reasons there, but actually that's more for interest and it doesn't really matter. The fact is, some of them we just need to learn. So let's look at some groups because there are patterns and things that can help us. But first, let me move this away. So those of you who are just joining, I'm Elizabeth, Talk with ECM, dun, dun, dun. And we're talking about silent letters. I just don't want it to be too distracting at once. So this first group of silent letters, I wrote this word squish, squish. These are words that are kind of squished together. Squish means to press or smush together. And I think February is a great example. Today is February. We're in February right now. In February, we say February. But when we write it, there is a crazy R in there that we don't say. We don't say February. We say simply February. Let me move closer so you can see my writing a little bit better. And I highlighted the silent R in red. In these examples, these are words that could be longer, February or February. We squish them into 2 syllables rather than 3. Without getting too complicated, let's go on. The next word is aspirin. Aspirin. It's a small tablet we can take for headaches, aspirin. But the spelling, it looks like aspirin with 3 syllables, but we say aspirin with 2 syllables. So we squish that word together with a silent I in there, squeezed in there. I see some of you are joining. I'm doing a quick grammar lesson here, and then I'll open up the seats for you to practice. Moving on, this is a really important word for many of us. Business. Business. If you look at it, it looks like it's business, but that's a different word with a different spelling. This is a noun, business. Business, and the I is silent, but we have to remember to write it in there. The other one's another really important word and one I like very much, chocolate, chocolate. And if we look at the spelling, it looks like chocolate, chocolate. Bzz. That's wrong. We squish it, chocolate, chocolate. Many people squish that together. The next word, I've heard it both ways, so I won't say it's wrong, but usually, often, people say different, different. When 2 things are not the same, they are different. It's also possible to say different, different, which would be 3 syllables, but often we squish it together, different, with 2 syllables. You'll notice with all of the words on this list, we squish something with 3 syllables to 2 syllables because it's easier. Welcome to those of you who are joining us. I'm doing a quick little grammar lesson here about pronunciation with English, and then I'm going to invite you to join me in the seats and practice speaking English together. So we're talking about words that have silent letters, and in this case, we have a group of words that are 3 syllables that we squish to 2 syllables. Make that arrow clearer. The next word, maybe it's a word you don't know so well. Omelet, omelet. This is a breakfast food. I enjoy eating it for breakfast. It's eggs in a pan with vegetables. I like mine with mushrooms and onions. Omelet. Omelet. The spelling, it looks like omelette or even omelette, but we pronounce it omelet, not omelette, omelet. We take 3 syllables and we squish it down to 2. Good. So we have a lot of people coming in and joining us and leaving and checking it out. Welcome to everyone. I have another word here I want to point out from this group, and then we'll talk about it. The last one in this group is a very common word. Wednesday. Wednesday. It's the name of usually the 3rd day of the week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But when we spell it, there's 2 silent letters in there. A D and an E. It looks like Wednesday. Wednesday. Bzz. We don't say it that way. We say Wednesday. Wednesday. So again, 3 syllables change to 2 syllables. The D and the E are out. Wednesday. Good. So these are some words that are spelled or written very differently than how we say them. So if anyone would like to join me in a seat here and try making a sentence with these, I welcome you to do that. Or I can continue with our second group of words. This first group of words to review are squished, where some of the letters are silenced because they're squished out. And in this group, there are 3-syllable words changed to 2-syllable words. To review, February, February, aspirin, aspirin, business, business, chocolate, chocolate, different, different. And as I mentioned before, some people do use different, different. Some people maintain that 3rd syllable. Omelet, omelet, and Wednesday, Wednesday. So if anyone would like to join me in the seat and practice saying some of these words, the seat is open. Otherwise, I will continue. So no takers? No one wants to join me in the seat? So let's go to our second group of words. Our second group of words are also silent letters, but for all of these silent letters, they're at the beginning of the word, at the start of the word, the first letter. Dun, dun, dun. It's like opening a present. So for this list, all of the silent letters are at the start of the word. Some of the words are common and some of them are not. Oh, I got some props. Thank you for those claps. I appreciate that. Welcome. If you would like to join me in the seat here, now would be a fine time to do that before I go into the next group. If you would like. Or not, you can watch along. That's fine too. So moving on, these are silent letters at the start of a word. Silent letters at the start of the word. The first one is the letter G. I wrote them in red so you can see which one exactly is silent. That means we don't say them. We write them, but we don't say them. So G. Here, gnat. The spelling is G-N-A-T. So we ignore the G and just say N-A-T, gnat. It's not such a common word. It's a tiny, tiny, tiny bug that flies around and it gets in your eyes and it gets in your ears and they really, a gnat, gnat. It looks like gnat, but we don't say that. Gnat, the G is silent. Another word, again, not so common, gnaw. If we follow that same rule where we don't say the G because it's silent, N-A-W, gnaw. And that means when you chew on something like a dog chewing on a bone, gnaw. You can gnaw on something. So gnat and gnaw. The G is silent. Let's go to the letter H. Now, for some people whose native language or first language is French, this is good news. This is good news for you because this is a case where you don't need to say that difficult H sound. We write the H, but we do not say it. We do not say it. The H is silent. The first word, if the H is silent, if we cover it, O-U-R, it's pronounced hour, hour. And an hour is 60 minutes. That is 1 hour, hour. Another word, again, the H is silent, so we don't say it. E-R-B, we pronounce it herb, herb. We often make this plural with an S. Let me add an S to that. Herbs. I like to use fresh herbs in my cooking. I like to use oregano, rosemary, etc. Herbs. We don't say herbs, we say herbs because the H is silent. And the third one, E-I-R. In this case, we say air, air. It sounds very much like the air we breathe, but that's spelled differently. This is H-E-I-R, air. And it means someone who receives something through the family line. For example, when a king dies, you must find the heir to the throne. Who will be the next king? I see we have some new people here. Some people, it's their first day at Blab. Welcome. My name is Elizabeth, and this is Talk with ECM. I'm doing a mini grammar lesson here in the beginning about pronunciation and silent letters. Let's see, we have some people writing on the side. So welcome to join us. Yes, that's right. N-O-D-D-Y, not sure how you want me to call you, said royalty. Yes, someone who's a king and their family would be royalty. But heir, in this case, can also have other meanings. For example, when any person passes on their things, when my grandmother had a beautiful necklace, and she wanted to give it to her heirs. She wanted to give it to her children, her grandchildren. Those are her heirs, the people who receive things from you by a bloodline. And I got a clap. Thank you very much for that. So we have some comments on the side. I'm from the UK, so might be a little different. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely true. There are many different kinds of English and many different ways to speak it. I'm from the USA, which is different and probably sounds a little bit different. Yes, that's right. So I'm really glad you pointed that out. About the grammar. Actually, today I'm speaking more about pronunciation than grammar. So I guess the pronunciation is even more likely to be different. So I think that's a very valid point. We have Armani966. I want to learn English perfectly. Super! I hope you reach your goal. Follow me on Twitter or do a search for me here on Blab. Talk with ECM. I offer free blab sessions that you can review. They're recorded shows, and I welcome you to watch them and join us in the future. So that's a really good thing. I'm excited when new people join. So let's see, we have G, we have H. There's also the silent K, which is maybe a little bit more known. That's the first example, to know. It looks like know, but we don't say the K. It's silent. That's why I wrote it in red. N-O-W, I would say no. So know, no. Do you know what time it is? Know means to have information in your brain. Another great example here. From the side, we have night. N-I-G-H-T. Oops. I put that off the side of my screen. There we go, night. And I have to put in the silent K. That red doesn't work very well. That's a perfect example, a night. And this is someone, actually a little bit, I can't find the other red. Oh, here it is. A knight is a role or a knight. Maybe you can pronounce or give us a good definition for a knight. A knight is like a lord or a duke. It's an aristocratic role or status that one can have. But perhaps our friend can give a better definition. Either here in the seat, you can join us. That would be great, especially if you're from the UK. You can offer us other pronunciations. We have Armani here on the side. I want you to help me to translate heavy metal music lyrics. To translate them? Maybe you can write me a message on Twitter. Tell me exactly what you need. We can talk about it. But for now, I'd like to stick to this topic. So we have night, we have no. Here's another important one. Knee, knee. This is the part of our leg that bends, our knee. We don't say knee. We say knee, knee. Or at least I say knee. I'm from the US. Thank you for those claps. I really appreciate that. And knife, knife. This is something, a metal thing we can use to cut food. Knife. Or cut anything, actually, a knife. Another silent letter I'd like to look at is the letter P. These words are a bit longer. Psychology, psychology. We say it as if the P was not there. Psychology. Psychology is the study of the human brain and emotions and how we think and how we do things. Sigmund Freud is a famous psychologist, and that also begins with the silent P, psychologist. Another crazy one with a silent P is a disease. We don't say pneumonia, we say pneumonia, as if the P is not there. The P is silent. We see here we have some definitions. Sorry, I didn't catch your texts right away. A man who served his sovereign or lord as a mounted soldier in armor. As a mounted soldier in armor is a knight. Great definition. And some famous knights, you can imagine them in their silver armor with swords and jousting and things. Yeah, that's a great definition. Thank you, and thank you for that example. And Armani966 said, I followed you on Twitter. Thank you very much for that. And Roberto just joined us, so welcome to everyone who's here. I'm going through silent letters and groups of words that have silent letters at the start. Hello, hello. Some texting on the side. The last one I want to talk about is the letter W. The letter W. These are examples of words where the W is silent. This is not an exhaustive list. There are others. These are just examples. The first one, it's W-R-A-P. Again, I wrote the W in red because we want to read it as if it's not there. R-A-P, wrap. W-R-A-P, wrap. In this case, wrap is when you take something and you put it around something else. For example, I can use a blanket to wrap a baby, or paper to wrap a gift. Wrap. Or when it's very cold outside, I can wrap my coat around myself, or wrap a blanket around myself. Wrap. The next one, wrinkle. Wrinkle. That's kind of a funny one to say. Wrinkle. Wrinkle is in your clothes. You can have folds in your clothes that you need to iron. Those are wrinkles. Or here, in your forehead or in your eyes. As we get older, we get wrinkles on our face. Wrinkle. So hello to those of you who are joining us. My name is Elizabeth. This is Talk with ECM. And we're practicing speaking English and learning today about pronunciation, particularly about silent letters. The last example I want to give today is for the letter W is write. Write. When you write a letter, or I write on the board. Write. That tricky W in the beginning, silent. We just don't say it, but please remember to write it when you are writing. Wrinkles. Armani said wrinkles. Yes. You can have many wrinkles on your face or in your clothes, and then you should iron it. Good. So that's a pretty big list of words with silent letters. Again, we had silent letters at the start of a word, and then we had silent letters in the middle where we squished words. Words that were 3 syllables that we squished to 2 syllables. So we have a question here on the side, and I have some seats open for anyone who would like to join me and try using these words and sentences. Armani 966 said, why they add W and they never say it? Great question. Why do we have silent letters in English? This is my question too. It's crazy. Whose idea was this? At the beginning of the session, which is recorded, I welcome you to go back and listen. I gave 3 reasons for that. It depends on each word. Some are the words or the letters had been pronounced in the past. We used to say them, but now we don't. So the pronunciation has changed, but the spelling has stayed the same. Another example is if words are borrowed from another language. So if they're taken from another language and used in English, maybe they're spelled as they are in the other language, but we pronounce them differently. So they kept the spelling but changed the pronunciation. Another reason for crazy spelling in English is also with borrowed words. When we borrow a word from another language, we keep the spelling and we keep the pronunciation from that language, but then it doesn't match the English spelling rules. There are many reasons, but the fact is they're here to stay. Whatever the reason is, we have silent letters. So I hope you'll join me in facing the challenge and learning to speak English better and better each day. This is one in a many-piece series, so I welcome you to join me at Talk with ECM. Let's see, we just have a minute or 2 left, and will anyone join us in the seat today? Not sure. Hello. I have a seat open for anyone who would like to join. Otherwise, I will just do a quick review of what we've covered today and say goodbye. So quick review, talk with ECM. Today our topic is February and other tricky words, because today is February. It's February. Ah. Our first group of words had silent letters, where we take a 3-syllable word and we squish it to a 2-syllable word. Examples, and here you can see I wrote the silent letters in red. The first one, February, February. Aspirin, aspirin. Business, business. Chocolate, chocolate. Different, different. Some people do say different, different, but many people say different. Omelet, omelet. Wednesday, Wednesday. So for the definitions and a better explanation of these, I welcome you to go back and listen to the beginning of the show. It is a recorded show. I see some people, Armani said thank you, so thank you for your question. That was a good question. I'm just doing a quick review now, and here are some words with silent letters at the start of the word, at the first letter at the beginning. And again, for definitions and more explanation, please watch the recorded version of the show. I do that earlier. Gnat, gnaw. Hour, herb, herbs, singular or plural, and air, air. No, no, knee, knee. Knife, knife, and one of our guests offered this, night, night with a K. Ooh, it's getting dizzy. Psychology, psychology. Pneumonia, pneumonia. Wrap, wrap. Wrinkle, wrinkle. You can see my tongue on there with the L at the end. Wrinkle. And write, write. So today's lesson, today's topic was about crazy English spelling and pronunciation, those words where it just doesn't seem to match. We talked about silent letters, where we have words that are squished, and that causes a silent letter, or silent letters at the beginning of a word. So we're about out of time. I see some people are joining us just now, so welcome. I want to welcome you. And unfortunately, we're ending the show, so I have to say goodbye, but it is recorded. I have other shows. I welcome you to go through them. They're all free for you to use, and I hope they're helpful. Please follow me on Twitter, Talk with ECM. Send me your questions. Send me your thoughts. I'd love to hear it, and I'd like to help you. I have some questions here on the side, so let me look at that. Do you do this classes every Friday? Yes and no. I have been doing it every Friday, but I have taken some breaks. I'm trying different times. I'm trying different ways because I'm experimenting here. It's not so regular yet, but if you follow me on Twitter, I always announce when there's a show so that you can find out. At this point in time, I've been doing a show every Friday at 1:30. So for the past, well, last week, this week, and then back in November, I took a month off. Great. For those of you just joining, we're about to end the show. Thank you very much for coming. I hope you find it useful, and it is a recorded session, so please watch the recording as many times as you like. And if you find it helpful, please share with your friends. Thanks a lot, and have a great February. Bye-bye.